Hello, I'm Elizabeth Weber-Edwards, and I teach German at the Well-Trained Mind Academy. I also teach several other subjects in the humanities. I have a background in English and German literature, and I also have experience working with university students in all disciplines to improve their research writing. We use language to communicate about the world and interact with others. I love teaching German because of the doors it opens for my students. By learning another language, students gain access to more ways to express themselves, both in their own language and in the target language. Plus, it's fun to acquire a language by focusing on communication rather than rote memorization or using drills. The result is that we have exciting class periods that can be over very quickly, rather than going on and on and on. Our class uses the book as a jumping-off point. The textbook gives us key vocabulary and structures, and these serve as a means for developing communicative competencies on specific topics. Because class time centers on using the target language to communicate with each other, students prepare for class by completing independent tasks. They read passages, they learn vocabulary, and they watch videos on the grammar that will help them communicate about the specific topic. In class, students can expect to interact with material, with me, and with their classmates, and you'll see what that looks like in a moment. The goal from my class is that students are comfortable communicating, both in German and in their other languages. The intercultural skills that we learn also help when interacting with people of other nationalities and backgrounds. Students become attuned to other cultures as well. And this sensitivity helps students to develop the social skills that will serve them well for the rest of their lives. Students get feedback through regular assessments, both formative and summative. Students, they complete a project and a test for every chapter. This encourages a review of the key concepts, the vocabulary, and the other skills that they've acquired, both during the chapter and throughout all their other chapters. Language builds on itself. You can't just test one chapter. Now, during the unit, students learn vocabulary, they complete grammar pages, and they accomplish tasks in their workbooks that help them prepare for class. For every hour of class, students can expect an hour of independent work. Let's have a look at a sample lesson from our German 1 class. You'll see that students can see me the whole time, and I make use of my surroundings to help illustrate what we're talking about. As much as possible, I stay in German rather than translating from English. This helps students map the German grammar in their brains, and they don't rely on an intermediary language to give the words their meaning. All right, so here's a look at my classroom, and here's something that my students would experience in their first semester of German with me. They have to learn that everything is either a der word, a die word, or a das word. And then they also have to say, oh, that's not a this, it's a that. Well, nada is actually a little bit different in German. So what I like to do is before I teach it to them explicitly, I like to actually get them noticing what's going on first and then share the chart with them. We're going to do something a little bit similar today. So here we have die Schulsachen. Die Schulsachen, the school things. Hier, das ist der Bleistift. Der Bleistift. And I let my students know to repeat. Der Bleistift. Der Bleistift. Gut. Der Marker. Das ist der Marker. Das ist der Füller. Der Füller. Der Füller. Gut. Der Computer. Der Kuli. Der Kuli. Der Kugelschreiber. Der Kuli. Der Kuli. Gut. Okay. Der Bleistift. Der Bleistift. Der Marker. Der Marker. Der Füller. Der Füller. Der Computer. Der Computer. Und der Kuli. Der Kuli. Wunderbar. Feminin. Die. Die Schere. Das ist eine Schere. Die Schere. Die Brille, die Brille. Die Uhr, die Uhr. Die Maus, ja, die Maus. Die Tastatur, die Tastatur, Tastatur, gut. Das Geld, das Mäppchen, das Lineal, das Kursbuch, das Buch, das Heft. Und hier Plural auch die Bücher, die Bücher, die Bücher. Also ein Buch, das Buch, die Bücher. 1, 2, die Bücher. Die Bleistifte. Der Bleistift, ein Bleistift, 1, 2, 3. Die Bleistifte, 3 Bleistifte. Okay, now. Let's join with me as we say, oh, that's not a this, it's a that. All right, I'm going to give you some examples first. All right. You should be able to see me. Okay. So, das Lineal. Das Mäppchen. Okay. Ist das ein Lineal? Nein, das ist kein Lineal. Das ist ein Mäppchen. Ist das ein Mäppchen? Nein, das ist kein Mäppchen. Das ist ein Lineal. Der Kuli, ja? Der Kuli. Der Kuli. Die Uhr. Die Uhr. Der Kuli. Die Uhr. Ist das ein Kuli? Nein, das ist kein Kuli. Das ist eine Uhr. Ist das eine Uhr? Nein, das ist keine Uhr. Das ist ein Kuli. Der Marker. Der Marker, ja, der Marker. Der Bleistift. Ist das ein Marker? Nein, das ist kein Marker. Das ist ein Bleistift. Ist das ein Bleistift? Nein, das ist kein Bleistift. Das ist ein Marker. And now my students would have already had quite a bit of vocabulary training, so I could hold this up and say, ist das eine Uhr? Das ist keine Uhr. Das ist ein Mäppchen. Ist das ein Lineal? Das ist kein Lineal. Das ist ein Bleistift. And then, after a whole lot of repetition, we're going to go have a peek at those charts. So here we have the chart. So are you ready? Der Bleistift. Ist das ein Bleistift? Ja, das ist ein Bleistift. Ist das ein Marker? Nein, das ist kein Marker. Das ist ein Bleistift. Ist das eine Uhr? Nein, das ist keine Uhr. Das ist ein Lineal. Ist das eine Uhr? Das ist keine Uhr. Das ist ein Mäppchen. With a lot more review, my students would be comfortable with this idea of not a being the same thing as kein, and they would also be comfortable using the correct article, the correct negation, kein or keine in the nominative. So, after a longer lesson, my students would be very comfortable with using the right der word, the right ein word, and saying that something wasn't a thing. Das ist kein Bleistift. Das ist keine Uhr. And from there we could continue to build the blocks, adding more and more information, and they can communicate about even more. Thank you.